Welcome to our podcast on expanding your English vocabulary together.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in as we explore 5 influential words today.
Today we'll cover the words peer pressure, play a part, pull one's weight, set an example, and unappealing to help new viewers be aware of these vocabs in our podcast. Peer pressure is a noun.
It refers to the influence exerted by a peer group in encouraging individuals to conform to group norms or behaviors.
Teenagers often face peer pressure to dress a certain way, and they may go along to fit in.
He resisted peer pressure from friends who wanted him to skip class, and he stayed to study.
College students sometimes experience peer pressure about partying, and they must decide their own limits.
She felt peer pressure to download the latest app, and she eventually gave in.
Athletes can face peer pressure to use performance-enhancing drugs, and they risk serious consequences.
He noted peer pressure among coworkers to work late, and he chose to leave on time.
Children may experience peer pressure on the playground, and they learn to stand up for themselves.
She warned that peer pressure in adolescence can shape lifelong habits.
Musicians sometimes feel peer pressure to conform to popular styles, and they may lose their unique sound.
He resisted peer pressure to change his major, and he pursued his passion instead.
In startup culture, peer pressure can push founders to overwork, and they must balance health and ambition.
She recognized peer pressure when colleagues teased her for not joining the latest trend.
Social media amplifies peer pressure to share every moment, and it can feel relentless.
He ignored the peer pressure to invest in unproven schemes, and he saved his money.
Friends may exert peer pressure to try risky sports, and one should assess the danger first.
She felt peer pressure in book club discussions, and she spoke up with her own view.
At university, peer pressure sometimes steers study groups to cut corners, and he urged integrity.
He saw peer pressure among volunteers to donate more than they could afford.
Teen drivers face peer pressure to show off, and they risk accidents.
She discussed peer pressure in her counseling sessions and helped clients set boundaries.
Young professionals experience peer pressure to network excessively, and they must guard their time.
He resisted peer pressure to conform to the office dress code, and he maintained his style.
Parents warn children of peer pressure in online gaming, and they monitor screen time.
She addressed peer pressure on her podcast and gave listeners strategies to cope.
Athletes can feel peer pressure to hide injuries, and that puts their health at risk.
He teaches students to recognize peer pressure tactics and to respond assertively.
In music schools, peer pressure can discourage experimentation, and he encourages creativity.
She wrote an article on peer pressure in culinary apprenticeships and advised resilience.
Teenagers under peer pressure to vape need clear facts and supportive guidance.
He studied peer pressure in medical residencies and found it affects work-life balance.
New employees feel peer pressure to accept overtime, and they should know their rights.
She noticed peer pressure among artists to chase trends, and she urged authenticity.
College athletes face peer pressure to uphold team culture, and they learn teamwork.
He spoke at a conference about peer pressure in startups and urged ethical choices.
Teenagers feel peer pressure from influencers online, and they need critical thinking skills.
She coaches executives on resisting peer pressure for unhealthy workplace norms.
Students face peer pressure to cheat on exams and must uphold academic integrity.
He highlighted peer pressure in his book on adolescent psychology.
Young adults feel peer pressure to move into cities, and they weigh pros and cons.
She concluded that understanding peer pressure helps us support one another better.
Play a part is a phrasal verb.
It means to have a role or effect in a situation or event.
She will play a part in organizing the charity gala, and she's excited about her role.
He played a part in drafting the new policy, and his contributions were vital.
Volunteers play a part in community cleanups, and they make their neighborhoods cleaner.
The IT team played a part in upgrading the system, and their skills ensured a smooth transition.
Every citizen can play a part in reducing pollution, and small actions add up.
She played a part in mentoring interns, and she found it rewarding.
Parents play a part in shaping their children's values, and they set examples daily.
He played a part in securing the funding, and his negotiation skills helped.
Educators play a part in students' success, and they often go beyond the curriculum.
She played a part in healing family rifts, and her empathy made a difference.
Corporate leaders play a part in social responsibility, and they must act ethically.
He played a part in streamlining operations, and his ideas saved time.
Each team member plays a part in project delivery, and collaboration is key.
She played a part in launching the product and celebrated the success.
Scientists play a part in advancing medical research, and they often work long hours.
He played a part in designing the curriculum, and his feedback improved it.
Community members play a part in local governance and can attend town halls.
She played a part in drafting the mural concept, and it now brightens the park.
Leaders play a part in crisis management and must act decisively.
He played a part in the rescue operation and saved lives.
Employees play a part in company culture and contribute to the work environment.
She played a part in the marketing campaign, and her creativity shone.
Citizens play a part in elections by voting and voicing opinions.
He played a part in drafting the press release, and his wording was clear.
Trainers play a part in improving workplace safety, and they conduct regular drills.
She played a part in coordinating volunteers and kept everyone organized.
Parents and teachers both play a part in a child's development, and they share responsibilities.
He played a part in the environmental survey, and his field notes were invaluable.
Developers play a part in digital innovation and release updates frequently.
She played a part in editing the documentary, and her vision guided the narrative.
Doctors, nurses, and paramedics all play a part in patient care, and each role matters.
He played a part in the software demo and answered critical questions.
Volunteers play a part in disaster relief and often work under tough conditions.
She played a part in fundraising events and met key donors.
Artists play a part in cultural dialogue and challenge societal norms.
He played a part in the city's planning committee and provided valuable insights.
Researchers play a part in discovering new treatments and often publish their findings.
She played a part in the community garden and helped plant trees.
Mentors play a part in career development and guide ments with experience.
He summed up that everyone can play a part in making positive change.
Pull one's weight is a phrase.
It means to do one's fair share of work or contribute appropriately to a group effort.
Every team member must pull their weight to meet the deadline, or the project will fail.
He refused to pull his weight in the group assignment, and others had to compensate.
In a household, everyone needs to pull their weight, with chores to keep things running smoothly.
She always pulled her weight in volunteer committees and was highly respected.
If you don't pull your weight at work, your colleagues will notice and morale will drop.
He appreciated teammates who consistently pulled their weight during crunch time.
Friends expect you to pull your weight when planning events to share the workload.
She made sure to pull her weight in the hackathon, and they won first prize.
In sports, every player must pull their weight to achieve victory.
He admitted he failed to pull his weight on the project and vowed to improve.
Family members should all pull their weight to maintain a peaceful home environment.
She taught interns to pull their weight by meeting their own deadlines.
If one person doesn't pull their weight, the whole team's performance suffers.
He respected colleagues who always pulled their weight without complaint.
When volunteers pull their weight, community events go off without a hitch.
She noticed some classmates wouldn't pull their weight in group presentations.
Military units rely on every soldier to pull their weight under pressure.
He praised the intern who pulled his weight copying files and organizing data.
Crew members must pull their weight on sailing vessels or the ship can't sail properly.
She insisted that everyone pull their weight in cleaning the cabin.
Workplaces thrive when employees pull their weight and collaborate effectively.
He was grateful for coworkers who consistently pulled their weight during busy seasons.
In academia, PhD supervisors expect students to pull their weight in research.
She encouraged her peers to pull their weight in writing the grant proposal.
Bands require every musician to pull their weight during performances.
He admired drummers who pull their weight by keeping perfect timing.
Partnerships succeed when both partners pull their weight financially and emotionally.
She told her spouse they needed to pull their weight in parenting duties.
Clubs ask members to pull their weight by volunteering for tasks.
He reminded club officers to pull their weight before the next event.
Construction crews need each worker to pull their weight for safety and speed.
She required apprentices to pull their weight on site to earn their keep.
Software teams depend on developers to pull their weight in coding and testing.
He noted that QA engineers must pull their weight to catch critical bugs.
In households, spouses should both pull their weight with finances and chores.
She shared tips on how to ensure everyone pulls their weight in a flat share.
In sports teams, coaches bench players who don't pull their weight.
He explained that star players must still pull their weight in training.
If you don't pull your weight in a partnership, people will lose trust.
She concluded that success depends on everyone pulling their weight.
Set an example is a phrase.
It means to behave in a way that others can emulate, demonstrating desirable behavior.
Leaders must set an example by arriving on time and showing commitment.
She always sets an example for her students through her kindness and respect.
Parents set an example for their children by modeling healthy habits.
He set an example at work by volunteering for difficult tasks.
Coaches set an example in discipline and fair play on the field.
She set an example in environmental stewardship by composting at home.
Teachers set an example with lifelong learning and curiosity.
He set an example in the office by acknowledging mistakes openly.
Managers should set an example of transparency with honest communication.
She set an example on the charity board with tireless fundraising efforts.
Soldiers set an example of bravery under fire.
He set an example for interns by meeting every deadline.
Mentors set an example by providing constructive feedback graciously.
She set an example for her peers by maintaining integrity in tough situations.
Employers set an example by treating all employees with respect.
He set an example for his team by admitting when he didn't know something.
Public figures must set an example with their public behavior.
She set an example in the community by organizing neighborhood cleanups.
Scientists set an example by rigorously testing hypotheses.
He set an example in meetings by listening actively and asking questions.
Coaches set an example in sportsmanship by congratulating opponents.
She set an example on social media by posting responsibly.
Leaders set an example by following the rules they enforce.
He set an example in budgeting by tracking all expenses meticulously.
Teachers set an example in respect by valuing every student's opinion.
She set an example in communication by responding promptly to emails.
Parents set an example in generosity by donating to causes they care about.
He set an example for recruits by maintaining peak physical fitness.
Judges set an example by displaying impartiality and fairness.
She set an example at home by keeping a zero-waste kitchen.
Elected officials should set an example by adhering to campaign promises.
He set an example in safety by wearing protective gear on site.
Celebrity role models set an example with philanthropic efforts.
She set an example for her roommates by cleaning up after herself.
Coaches set an example by handling losses gracefully.
He set an example in research ethics by disclosing conflicts of interest.
Parents set an example in conflict resolution by modeling calm dialogues.
She set an example in teamwork by offering help before being asked.
Business leaders set an example by investing in employee well-being.
He concluded that to inspire others, one must first set an example through action.
Unappealing is an adjective.
It means not attractive or pleasing, causing a negative reaction or lack of interest.
The dish looked unappealing, and no one wanted to try it.
He found the proposal's layout unappealing and hard to read.
The paint color was unappealing to potential buyers of the house.
She thought the movie's special effects were unappealing and unrealistic.
The new logo design looked unappealing to customers and was revised.
He described the cereal's texture as unappealing and gritty.
The brochure's font choice felt unappealing and dated.
She found the perfume scent unappealing and overpowering.
The app's interface was unappealing with clashing colors.
He called the soup's flavor unappealing and too bland.
The vacation package looked unappealing after reading the reviews.
She thought the novel's premise was unappealing and predictable.
The exhibit's lighting made the artworks look unappealing.
He found the coffee's aftertaste unappealing and harsh.
The game's graphics seemed unappealing compared to competitors.
She thought the playlist was unappealing and skipped most tracks.
The restaurant's ambience felt unappealing and cramped.
He described the fabric's feel as unappealing and scratchy.
The tutorial's examples were unappealing and too simplistic.
She found the showroom's layout unappealing and confusing.
The sandwich looked unappealing with its soggy bread.
He thought the website's homepage was unappealing and cluttered.
The product's packaging was unappealing and plain.
She described the lighting in the apartment as unappealing and harsh.
The app's notifications were unappealing and too frequent.
He found the report's summary unappealing and uninformative.
The clothing's design was unappealing and outdated.
She thought the theater's seats were unappealing and uncomfortable.
The course syllabus looked unappealing and too dense.
He described the smoothie's color as unappealing and murky.
The book cover was unappealing and generic.
She found the salad's presentation unappealing and messy.
The city skyline looked unappealing from that angle.
He thought the product demo was unappealing and unconvincing.
The ad campaign was unappealing and failed to attract interest.
She called the floor plan unappealing and impractical.
The sweater's pattern seemed unappealing and busy.
He described the parking lot as unappealing and unkempt.
The exhibit's text was unappealing due to its small font size.
That's how unappealing captures a lack of attraction or interest.
That concludes our deep dive into these 5 essential English expressions and words.
We hope you feel confident using peer pressure, play a part, pull one's weight, set an example, and unappealing in your conversations.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more vocabulary insights next time.
Goodbye and keep practicing every day.